Hello, this is Robert Ramsey from Geeks Garage, and I'm going to show you how to do some quick ambient occlusion and baking the textures into your texture. Okay, so to start off I'm going to change the layout. I'll just right click down here and go to layout and choose this to split the view into two. This makes it a little bit easier for navigation, especially on a laptop or if you've got a small monitor. So start with this top viewport. For this case I'll just make a simple box. Okay, I'm going to press F3 for fully shaded, and F4 turns on and off the wireframe. I tend to like both of these. Okay, so I'm going to go into the materials and make a white material. I'm just going to call it AOmappingIn3dsMax. And I call it AO because I'll make it simply white, specular and white diffuse. I'm going to bring down the glossiness to 0 and apply it to the mesh. Okay, if you've got the option here, you can turn on certain features like ambient occlusion, default lights, scene lights, and hardware shading. So you might have to customize your preferences by going into viewports, configure driver, and you may have some ability here to change the texture sizes in the viewport and also configure drivers. So for this, I can't really see ambient occlusion live in the viewport, but I can definitely do a render preview. So with the cube enabled, with the cube made, I'm going to create a plane just in the base here. I'm going to also give that a white material. Press G, turn the grid off. Same here. A bit more room for working. Press P for perspective. Okay, so let's go ahead and put in a skylight. So that's under standard lights and skylight. I just want to make sure I'm kind of top down before I place it. That way the skylight knows what way to look. It doesn't matter where you put it, as long as you put it somewhere where you can see it quite easily. Turn the shadows on. Let's just see if I can enable any hardware shading. There we go, ambient occlusion. And we've got a little bit ambient occlusion. Now it's slowing my computer down a fair bit because I'm screen recording and I've not got the greatest of laptops. So I'm just going to put an edit poly onto the stack here and start working from that. Now if you create a face and right click, you've got quick access to your your modifiers, and you can work off those. Just undo that and press escape and press Q, actually Q go into select mode. Now let's try this one. Will give you the dialogue as well, which is a bit better because I have to change this to local normal. Now and then, depends what you're using. Now I want to use bevel with the dialogue. So you choose the height and you choose the amount of outline, like that. And let's click on extrude and bring that in. And you can kind of see the ambient occlusion working here. Okay, so first of all I want to do an unwrap. So for this I'll just choose faces, and I can do a simple cube. Let's check it out, let's see what it's done. Just pack the UVs here, and that looks good enough. Just to make sure everything's okay, I'll do a relax on it. My face angles, and that just corrects everything. I'll bring my padding down to 0.005, and I usually have these two checked, and I'll pack. One thing I'll also do is just grab everything. As you can see, this is right to the edge here, so it doesn't allow for any padding. So I'll just select everything, start to scale, hold down Control, and just bring it in the centre a bit. This gives me a bit more room. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let me just make that one in a bit. Happy with that, so I'll close. Okay, so I've baked that into the mesh. That means all the UVs are set. Smoothing groups I can also deal with, but I'll just use the smooth modifier to do it quickly. I can decide how much smoothing I want on the normals. And I think the way it was is absolutely fine. For the purposes of this video, I just want to show you how to bake the ambient occlusion. So select a mesh, press 0, and you see the name of this is box 001. I can rename it to AO cube test, and it gets renamed here. The padding I want to change to say 6 for this, because I'm just going to bake out a really small one. So I'll choose add here, and I'll choose complete map. And it's got a name there, it's a target file, but it doesn't know where to put it, so I'm going to put it on my desktop. Let's put it there. AO cube test complete map, and I'll change it to PNG, and I'll save that. I'll just give it grayscale 8-bit, no alpha channel. I'll do a 128 by 128 because I want this to be fairly quick, and I know it's going to struggle. It might even affect the video a little bit, so I'll render and see how it goes, maybe pause. So here we go. You see it's taking its time, so I'm going to pause the video. Be right back. Okay, so it's baked out a really small, just a 128 by 128 size AO map. The bigger the map, the longer it takes, and also the bigger the setting of your raise for the skylight. That's this number here, 20. The bigger that number, the longer it's going to take. 20 is quite good for all round. If you want it to be quick, you can go lower numbers. If you want a grainier effect, you can go lower numbers as well. Okay, so that done. Bring it to Photoshop. I'm just going to open, if I can find the file. Okay, desktop. Put that there. And you can see that it saved a file with the padding on, and that means it just continues the edges a bit more, so that you don't get a dark edge where your seams are, or yeah. So that's pretty good, because sometimes you get this being too tight to the UV, and then you get a black edge because this background's maybe black. Okay, so make sure you work off the file that you output, and don't, whatever you do, don't save the render preview window, because it doesn't include any of the padding, and sometimes doesn't include anything else that you might do, like a specular pass or a specular render texture. Okay, so I'm just going to change this to layer 0, and then under here I can add some detail. This I just made some colour. Now what it's done is switch to black and white because of the file, so I can easily go up to image mode and change that to RGB and just do don't merge, and I should get my colour here. And change this AO layer, so I'll just give that a name. Oops. AO. Let's call it diffuse. And give the AO a multiply layer. The wrong layer there. Change that back to normal. And I can start to change these areas into different colours. The good thing is, no matter what I colour this in, it still gets all the ambient occlusion shadowing done to it because of this AO layer. Okay, so I'm going to save that as PNG. Desktop will do me for now. I'm just going to delete this stuff when I'm finished. So AO cube test. I like to call it AO diff. That way I know that I've done the diffuse and I know that it's baked AO into it as well. So it's good to give your file names appropriate names. Now let's get into Max and get rid of this skylight. It's only causing some stress here. And we can turn the hardware shading off. That gets rid of the ambient occlusion. And go to materials, and I'll just rename this diff map, AO diff map. Click on this little square next to diffuse, choose bitmap, and find the file. Test AO diffuse, and it's already applied to the model. You can tell with these white edges. So I want to switch this on. Oh, and guess what? I put it on the plane underneath, but never mind. That's the one I meant to put it onto it. This one I'll just give it an ordinary grey. So I've clicked on the model, and if you hold down Alt and use the middle mouse button, press the middle mouse button down whilst holding Alt, and you can pan around. You can see I just missed a little bit when I was painting Photoshop, but I was being quite rough. You can see I missed one of these edges as well, and that's what you would get if you missed doing any padding. So to show you the difference when you turn diffuse into a single colour, let's go for a bright colour, save as. Change that to PNG. I should get the same file. There we go. So you can see these pixels here, just a little bit. That's because the texture is so low definition. So what I could do, go to image size, change it to 512, and change this to bilinear. I could do a filter, blur, Gaussian blur, bring that down a bit. It's a little bit smoother. Save as, PNG. You don't have to do it this way, this is just a little trick for blending the edges. You can still add lots of detail and scratches on, but that smoothens things out a lot better. And you've still got the AO baked in. So let's see the difference between that and ordinary colour. So you can see the difference, how the AO really makes it work. So from there you can open some textures. Let's see if I can find anything useful. Might just have some reference stuff here, I'm not too sure what I've got. Let's see what I've got. Oh, perfect. I use a lot of shortcut keys in Photoshop. Sorry about that, it's force of habit. I'm just doing this really quickly. And bring the AO up to that. And it's still a multiplier layer over a normal layer. I'll just fade out this a little bit so you can still see that colour. Can you change that to an overlay? Not so good. Hard light sometimes is a bit better. It's hard light. That's good, and it's got the AO baked in it. So let's save that. Okay. Okay, it doesn't look too great. It's just because it looks really flat. But a little trick I do here is just pull this down to bump, copy it, change this to like 200, something crazy. And click on this to show, and drag it over. Hold and drag, it does the bump map in with it, and there we go. Same thing, you can drag it to specular level. This is a pretty cool way of making something quite simple and also getting ambient occlusion baked into any textures you've got. Okay, so that's all for this tutorial. Any questions, just post in the comments and suggest any new tutorials that will help you out. Cheers, I'm Robert Ramsey, this is Geek Garage. Bye.